It's baseball season, and today we've got an example of how bad behavior can have significant consequences. Here's the situation. Game coming up between the Florida Gators and East Carolina. The officials decide to push the game back from noon to 1 o'clock because the East Carolina team had played until midnight the night before. At which point, the Florida coach goes to the officials and reams them out, screams, yells, a profanity-laced dressing down of these officials, so angry that they pushed the game back an hour. Well, of course, it was all caught on camera. It was in front of the players. Everybody saw it. And what did the East Carolina coach do? Well, instead of saying quiet, he actually talks to reporters at the news conference afterwards and says what the Florida coach did was completely inappropriate. He was so disappointed, and in fact, he called the Florida coach a bully. So what's the lesson here? Well, first and foremost, for leaders, you're always on camera, whether there's a camera there or not. Everyone is watching you, and these days with text and email, social media and electronic communication, everything you do, everything you say, everything you type is going to be remembered and watched forever. Second, a little bit of a lesson about speaking up. And when, if you're the good guy, is it appropriate to call out a peer or others? I think this is a really good example of how being a bystander and standing up and speaking up by the East Carolina coach and saying, hey, what the Florida coach did here was completely inappropriate. That's not okay. Now, I think you got to watch charged words, like bullying is a charged word these days. So you got to be careful about that. But how interesting that the leader decided publicly to call out another leader for bad behavior. A+ for bravery. And finally, the well-worded apology. How did this all end? Well, of course, the Florida coach the next day issued an apology, took full responsibility, said he didn't represent the brand well, that it was a learning lesson and that he wouldn't do it again. Probably the right approach, but a lesson hard learned. And Florida lost the game. That's 2 minutes of advice today.